very much a tricky prospect for this Vela Khumalo coached Bafana team. They showed their steel and their mettle in their two opening Group A matches. Got a good point against Zimbabwe and an equally as impressive point, even more so against Mozambique. Yet to concede a goal during this year's COSAFA Cup of this Mauritian team. They are tough as nails, and they are with an outside shot as well of being granted passage into the semi-finals. The equation as well is simple for them. They must win. And both these nations will be silently cheering for Zimbabwe to get a point, to sneak a point off Mozambique at the Toyota Free State Stadium. But they can't hope too much. They just need to focus on their performance this afternoon, the performance at the Dr. Petrus Molimela Stadium. And they have clearly arrived in high spirits.
Thank you for your time. You're up against the Mauritius side that has been very hard to break in this tournament after the 2 games. What's the plan for today's match?
Look, we are more than ready. We did our analysis against them, and we've seen how they play. And importantly is that we want to go all out because we know that what is at stake. We want to win the game and hope that Zimbabwe on the other side, they'll do us favor. If they get a draw that side, we win our games this side, we are through. So more than anything else, it's going all out in this cold weather. We want to go all out and attack from the first whistle.
Mduduzi Chabalala starts for the first time in this competition. Is among a few changes that we have in your team, coach?
Look, we wanted to freshen up the team, and they all looked good, and we selected good players. So when you take out Namantandani and then you bring in Duduzi, still the same. It's only that he's more fresher than others because he has been playing few minutes. But each and every player is very, very important. We were doing it in such a way that we keep them fresh for the tournament, and I hope that is going to help us the results. But our results are entirely depending on the other side because this side will have to win it.
Are you feeling the pressure as the home team to advance to the next stage of the competition?
Like I always indicate that as soon as you get into football, there's pressure. There's people who will like you, there's people who will not like you, there's people who will scrutinize how you want to play, there are people who will want to say, no, we like the way he plays. So there's all this kind of pressures that comes with the name of the game, which is football. So we are willing and waiting for all these criticisms, but importantly, we have a good team and we are going to display good football and we want to win this game.
Thank you very much, coach.
Thank you.
Good luck with the match.
Thank you.
Coach, thank you for your time. 2 big points in the opening matches against Zimbabwe and Mozambique. How important is it for you to continue today?
Donc vous avez déjà 2 points contre le Zimbabwe et un autre contre le Mozambique. Qu'après ce match aujourd'hui est important pour continuer?
Bien sûr, la victoire est primordiale pour continuer. Donc on va tout faire pour aller chercher les 3 points et espérer que le scénario nous soit profitable pour pouvoir se qualifier.
And yes, of course, it's a very important game today. We need these 4 points, and of course we want to have a qualification, and we just want to have a good scenario today to enable us to go to the semi-finals.
And you've also made several changes to your team, coach. What was the reason behind that?
Vous avez fait des changements une nouvelle fois au sein de l'effectif. Quelles sont les raisons qu'est-ce qui explique ces raisons?
Bon, on reste dans la même lignée que dans laquelle je suis venu ici, c'est-à-dire de faire à la fois une revue d'effectifs et de pouvoir voir tous les joueurs sur le terrain un minimum de temps pour préparer au mieux les matchs de septembre et octobre.
So it's the same philosophy like the first 2 games, is to know what the players are capable of on the pitch. I want to know all of them and to prepare them for our next challenges in September.
And are you happy with the overall performance in the 2 games that you've played so far, coach?
Et quel est un peu votre état d'esprit, votre philosophie un peu par rapport aux 2 premiers matchs? Qu'est-ce que vous pensez des 2 premiers matchs de l'île Maurice?
Je pense qu'on va essayer d'aller un peu plus haut sur le terrain pour pouvoir essayer de se créer des occasions, mais on va garder les mêmes idées de jeu, même si ce ne sont pas les mêmes joueurs, on va garder les mêmes idées de jeu.
So we have a same plan, but I wish that my players, we work on it, but we're more focused on attacking the opponent, and yeah, we will see later what will happen.
Thank you very much, coach, and good luck with the game.
Thank you.
There's no place for a best runner-up to progress. One of Group A's nations must win the group. South Africa were eliminated at this point in the last edition, and one can only wonder for now what fate has in store for them and Mauritius this afternoon for this 3 o'clock kickoff at the Dr. Petrus Molimela Stadium. It's sure to be a COSAFA Cup classic. Vila Khumalo, the coach of South Africa, says they've done their analysis on Mauritius and they are all systems go on this very cold winter's day in Bloemfontein. As for Luc Molek, the coach of Mauritius, he says their team are going to apply the same philosophy, the same plan, with more of a focus and a special attention to the attacking bit that was missing, that has been missing in their game so far. The Dodos of Mauritius are undefeated without the concession of a goal against their name. South Africa, without a question in mind, have a dangerous, very dangerous dance partner to end off the first act of this COSAFA Cup show, the group phase of the 2025 COSAFA Cup. And just yesterday, a semi-final spot was nearly taken, but a semi-final place will not be given. It must be earned and fought for. So for this match between one of the most successful nations in the competition and one of its most fiercest underdogs, simply boils down to desire. And we are patiently waiting for the protagonists to enter the park. Conditions are cold, the pressure is palpable, but it's matches like this one that carve COSAFA Cup championship contenders. This match is to convince everyone else in the competition of their seriousness, their focus on the semi-finals and the gold. They are going to need some help from Zimbabwe, but they can only focus on the matter at hand. Mauritius wearing all white this afternoon, South Africa in their traditional home attire. Hosts versus Islanders, third versus second in Group A. It's bound to be an exciting end-off to Group A, and it's a mystery for now as to who will finish on top of this group and to how this match between South Africa and Mauritius shall end. But before we can enjoy the contest, it's time for those players to proudly sing their national anthems.
And now, a national anthem of the Republic of South Africa.
South Africa, the Bafana Bafana of the COSAFA Cup, have been champions before. They've been simple group contenders before. They've experienced both sides of the coin, the disappointment and the ecstasy. And for now, for today, the semi-final is their only want in the world. And it's going to require a whole lot of effort against Mauritius. And Vela Khumalo has continued to freshen up the team. He's instilled 3 changes to the side that started against Zimbabwe. Letlapa comes back into the team to replace Msani. Nemtajela loses his place to Mduduzi Shabalala in the number 10 position, who starts for the first time in this competition. And he's got Sibelebele as well as Radiopane for company. Their midfield 3, the South African midfield 3, are sturdy. And there's an exciting centre-half partnership blossoming between Aidan McCarthy and Okon. Ditejane is also back in the side at right full-back. Terrific, exciting, youth-injected team on paper. And these are the list of match officials on the field of play, led by Celso Alvacao of Mozambique. And here are the starting Mauritians for today. Jean-Pascal Collin picked up a red card in the Mozambican meeting, so he misses out, and William Francois takes his place in the midfield. It's also a completely different attacking front 3, as de Robillard, Caliste and Alex Jason are tasked with putting the ball in the South African net. Lindsay Rose, together with Dylan Collard and Jean-Louis, have been very reliable and oh so disciplined defensively. And we didn't see much of VAR in the opening game yesterday at this ground, but we saw more of it in the evening clash. And it's on standby once again. Yet to be introduced, could be introduced in South African top flight football this coming season, but it's here for the COSAFA Cup, and Vela Khumalo is the man that hopes to guide this South African team into the semi-finals. Luke Mulek of Mauritius hoping to do exactly the same for his side, that are positioned as dark horses in this race for a semi-final place. Dark horses of Mauritius that are very much in the race. It would definitely send shockwaves from bustling Bloemfontein to Port Louis if they can get it done today. Group A is destined for a photo finish, a dash to the line, and it's anyone's guess as to how this match here and the one up Oliver Tambo Road between Mozambique and Zimbabwe will unfold. Countdown is complete. South Africa face Mauritius in what is the final clash in Group A for them, both chasing a semi-final spot. Both have left it very, very late. Last year in the group battle between Mozambique and South Africa, the battle to the top was won by the Mambas. They were the ones that progressed to the semis to eventually then attain bronze. But this year in Bloemfontein, South Africa seek sweet revenge and redemption. But will they get it? They've made a really fast start with the ball into the box. A ball chased by Shabalala, not convincingly dealt with by Lindsay Rose. But there's the first sight of Shabalala and the first sighter for Ditejane, as Lindsay Rose just mistimed his intervention. As well as Mduduzi Shabalala, who's on the way down when he was trying to make contact. That will go down as a half an opportunity for the South African and Kaizer Chiefs number 10. Radiopane had a really good outing against Zimbabwe, might not have got on the score sheet, but hardly put a foot wrong for this Bafana Bafana group, and that's why he starts again today. Didn't start the first match against Mozambique. That honor was bestowed onto Victor Letswalo, but Vela Khumalo yet again preferring youth up top, and an exciting youth player, who is not really that young anymore, is Radiopane, the bustling buccaneer. And wherever you may be, it's a pleasure as always to keep you company, to narrate some COSAFA Cup action, and it should be the most entertaining day yet. Day number 7 of this 2025 iteration. And every single match so far has been captured by fear. At least one team becomes paralyzed by the pressure, but the other relishes the occasion and the opportunity for a COSAFA Cup campaign to remember. South Africa haven't been to the semis since 2023. Mauritius have never ventured that far into semi-final territory. And today, Mauritius, as I said, they've got an outside shot, but a shot nonetheless. There's a chance to deliver though for Sebelebele. Dangerous cross into the box. The scraps collected by the left back, Letlapa. He's going to try and sneak in. Two nations, South Africa and Mauritius. And the rest of Africa are watching these 22 men with great intrigue. There's always pressure to deliver on the shoulders of the hosts, on the shoulders of Bafana Bafana. Two Bafana Bafana teams in action today. A slightly younger COSAFA Cup side, although the main team in action in Polokwane this evening against Mozambique is just as young, just as enterprising, with slightly bigger names, but these are the emerging talents. Ditejane is certainly one of them. But here's Pierre for Mauritius. Took it too far. Should have released when he had the opportunity to do so. Chance for Shabalala. Good ball from Shabalala to Sebelebele now for South Africa. Tight angle. Enough on it. Enough defensive work applied by the Mauritians. Jean Addison is always there, whenever, wherever Mauritius need him. And it's going to be the first corner kick of the contest. Sebelebele was the HollywoodBets COSAFA Cup man of the match against Zimbabwe. He's going to be in charge of this corner kick. There's plenty of pushing and shoving in the box. Radio Pane and Jean Anderson in the thick of it. And the referee is still not happy. It's going to be Moralo instead. Provided a crucial assist for Ocon on Saturday afternoon. That produced the second. Can this produce the opener? Moralo goes in up towards McCarthy at the back. Still McCarthy now. Does he have the speed to get there just before it goes out? He does. Puts a decent delivery in there, just lacked the necessary height. But now the centre half is out of position. And Mauritius can break. But it's held up by Ngonyama. And it's South African ball. The chance has appeared out of nothing. Radiopane, he tries to squeeze it in. Nearly bobbled off the goalkeeper, back into the goal. Gratefully and graciously, Jean-Louis is able to hold on. And then McCarthy did well not to intervene, to listen to Radiopane, because he was in an offside position. Shabalala was in the box. It was difficult for Radiopane to pick him out, so he definitely did the right thing. And the goalkeeper made it look more difficult than what it should have been. Here's Mauritius with an opportunity though. Banjwa quick to snuff out the danger, quick to dash off his line. And late last year, the much younger generation, the under-17s of South Africa and Mauritius, contested the under-17 COSAFA Cup. And Today it's the seniors' turn on paper. But there's more than just a few youngsters before you. Plenty of under-23s in the mix. Sibelebele goes over his head. At the feet now of Pierre, who's fouled by the TS Galaxy forward. And today, in this match, across the full 90 minutes, it's all about composure. Composure in one's own box and composure in the opposition's box. This match is also the penultimate match at the Dr. Petrus Molemela Stadium. The knockout rounds will be decided just next door. William Francois to Yannick Aristide. Letlapa escapes for South Africa and then is taken out. Here's Ocon, currently being observed by many clubs. We'll just have to focus on this matter before him. Moralo was a soldier for Bafana Bafana against Zimbabwe, ended that match with a bandage strapped across his head, over his head, due to the fact that he took a knee to the face. Here's Ditijane, playing as a flying fullback this afternoon. Ditijane, just like he did in the group opener. Sibelebele started in his position against Zimbabwe. Now Sibelebele is slightly more forwards, as is McCarthy. Sibelebele still has it for South Africa. He ventures deeper into the box, but lets himself down with a wayward touch. Or did it come off a Mauritian defender last? I think so. It's going to be another corner kick opportunity for the South Africans. The centre halves very high up, very advanced for Vela Kumalo, and indeed it took the final touch of Louis Brendan. Second corner chance for Moralo, second chance for him to whip it in there. Ocon, Konyama, the obvious targets. McCarthy, Letlapa, Radiopane in the mix as well. But it's cleared at the front post by Jean Anderson. South Africa will be seeking a fast start to score so that they can put the Mozambicans under pressure. Mauritius will be hoping for exactly the same. McCarthy challenges, tries to knot it down to Radiopane with 10 minutes or so on the clock, just beyond. South Africa trying to start off on a goal note. As another ball is delivered by Ditijane. The press is suffocating for now for Mauritius. And South Africa aren't letting up in these opening exchanges. Ocon wanted Sibelebele to come closer to collect. There are a number of permutations present in this group, plenty of what-ifs as this game gets going. If Mozambique and South Africa win both of their matches, Mozambique will progress by 1 point. For South Africa to progress, they must win. And they must hope for a favor from Zimbabwe. The only way for Mauritius to go through and sneak into the semi-finals is also by defeating South Africa and hoping, again, for a favor from Zimbabwe. This group will soon unfurl. Radio Pane is running the channels, running the inside channels. McCarthy trying to find him more regularly. Here's Shabalala. Big performance needed from South Africa's number 10 this afternoon. A lot of eyes on him. Sibelebele did well to get a touch to it. It was speared in his direction. Seems to be playing as an inside forward, allowing Ditejane to have space out wide. Shabalala wins a cheap free kick for South Africa. And I must say this, should two or more teams finish on the same number of points in the pool phase, they will be separated by the result of their head-to-head meetings in the first instance. And if that doesn't provide a conclusion, the next criteria will be goal difference resulting from the group matches between the teams concerned. And then only the goals will be looked at. So it's all about your points and then your head-to-head record in the group phase. And only then will the magnifying glass be brought out for the goal difference, to study the goal difference. But here's Moralo. Not the cross he was hoping to deliver. Not the cross many of his teammates were hoping to get at the end of. I also wish to remind you that Mozambique and Zimbabwe are in the thick of action at the Toyota Free State Stadium, and it's also still scoreless between the Mambas and the Warriors of Zimbabwe. And it remains to be seen if history is going to repeat itself or not. If Mozambique can back up what they did last year. Bandra, easy out ball to Ditejane. Some space for Anderson to work with, to work in. And fails to flourish and make the most of it. For now, it is hovering around 11 and 12 degrees Celsius in Bloemfontein. There's a cold breeze, but that hasn't deterred some spectators to enter this intimate venue. Here's the Robillard. Shabalala does well. Continuously moving Shabalala, but he wasn't found by Radio Pane. Ocon did well. Ditejane. More of a knuckleball technique on that cross. Just put too much on it. No traditional number 9, no Let's Swallow leading the line for South Africa this afternoon. When he came on, he played quite well together with Radio Pane as a front two. But today South Africa are relying on the trickery of Sibelebele and Mduzi Shabalala, and hopefully for them the finishing of Radio Pane. Gunyama runs the risk. Letlapa takes it back. Letlapa nearly could have played continental football next season with Skukune United. Duduzi Shabalala's Kaizer Chiefs season ended with silverware, but not with a top 8 finish. But he did produce his most productive club campaign this past season. Only going to get better is the 21-year-old. Speaking of youth, here's the Mauritian version, Kaliste. Halfway line free kick for them. It's easy enough work for the South Africans. It's a very good ball to Radiopane, who went backwards to move forwards again for South Africa. Shabalala on the edge of the box where he wants to be. Moralo. And with that, all of the steam dissipates. Here's Gonyama. Litijane. Moralo is making that run. Spotted by Dylan Collard. South Africa this afternoon are trying to do what Mozambique and Zimbabwe couldn't, and that is to score against the Mauritians. Jean-Louis. Just yesterday, two nations could have emerged as semi-finalists. The opportunity was there for both Madagascar and Comoros, but both were denied for now. So as things stand, no nation is a COSAFA Cup semi-finalist just yet. As the sun rears its face from behind the clouds. Much warmth needed for the players. Here's Ditejane. It's nearly a slip from Ocon. It is slightly slippery underfoot. Not a lot of grass coverage, especially in the half of South Africa. A little bit more in the Mauritian half, which is interesting. Here's Ditejane again. Goes to the infield. Moralo on the outside. Ditejane on the inside. But Mauritian defense holding up against South Africa so far. Shabalala breezes past two and then past a few more. Radiopane takes a bite or two. Great stretch from Kaliste. The Mauritians would have just wanted to survive the opening spell, to settle what would have been a tense collective. It's going to be a Mauritian throw-in. Yet to conjure up a corner kick, yet to conjure up any kind of opportunity or penetrating move into the box of South Africa. That could do the trick. Kaliste, that's nice. Pierre on the outside. Pierre crosses the ball into the box. And it's headed out. Mistimed his header. Did him Kize. It was a routine clearance that he could only head out for a Mauritian corner kick. And these are the kind of opportunities that will seem really grabbable for the Mauritians. This is where they need to make it count. And before this corner kick is going to be taken, we saw some pushing and shoving in the Mauritian box when South Africa had their two quick corners in succession. Same doing here. Kaliste. Clever over the dead ball. Potent over the dead ball. Chance is missed. Best chance of the game missed by Lindsay Rose, it seems like. Couldn't have asked much more from the delivery from Caliste. And that should have been stuck away. That's a huge let-off for South Africa. Closed his eyes at the crucial moment, did Lindsay Rose. And that chance will be playing over and over in his mind as he marks Radiopane. Here is Mkhize. Also had an excellent spell with Sekhukhune United this past season. Deserves his place here in Bloemfontein, in that South African midfield. Good competition as well at left back between Msani and Letlapa. Okon. Good pass from Okon. Sibelebele might not have seen it coming. Or maybe saw it coming too late, but that's neat feet from Caliste. South African ball though. Pinball. Caliste. Rose. Here's Yannick Aristide. McCarthy does too much. Throughout the history of the COSAFA Cup, groups have often been decided. Semi-final tickets are often granted due to the finest margins, like the head-to-head statistic and the goal difference. And this Group A may very well come down to it. For now, it's still scoreless here, and it's still scoreless at the Toyota Free State Stadium between Mozambique and Zimbabwe. So this group has not yet changed. For now, Mozambique will progress as things stand, but it's still very early on. Louis Brendan won't have too many opportunities to get forward for Mauritius, so when he does, he needs to capitalize. Everything Mauritius do in this part of the field, they need to be perfect and they need to be potent. As for South Africa, as for Vela Khumalo, he really wanted his troops to improve on their finishing. For the second match, they had a lot of missed opportunities that they failed to take in the first half against Mozambique in the tournament opener. But they did take two of their many opportunities against Zimbabwe in the second group match. And a good lack of finishing has let them down. Ditejane with a fine first touch. McCarthy offers another option in the midfield for South Africa. Letlapa off against Louis Brendan, out for a corner kick. A good Sekhukhune United contingent in the South African team. Kaizer Chiefs well represented. SuperSport United as well. Another Moralo corner kick chance. They had plenty of them against Zimbabwe, and they've already coughed up a few against Mauritius. Moralo into the box. Mauritius get rid. Mkhize thought about putting it back in there, but play is stopped. Another free kick then to South Africa, to Moralo. quite unlucky not to be recognized as the player of the match against Zimbabwe. Showed a lot of endeavor in that game, and he's, as you can see, very active in this team. It's not going to be Shabalala's. It's all Moralo. It's a really good ball, McCarthy! Can't divert it goalwards, it's still there for South Africa. Shabalala lashes wide. Another mistimed header, another heading opportunity fails to be taken. This time it fell to McCarthy, and he took a nasty landing as well. He landed actually on the left leg of Jean-Louis, I think. Now, while we're approaching the half-hour mark of this contest, there's a goal check on the go between Mozambique and Zimbabwe. And we'll let you know if there is any news of a confirmed goal. For now, VAR is yet to be involved in this contest that is growing more interesting by the minute. Mkize there clearly laid his hands on Yannick Aristide. For now, the Mambas of Mozambique hold all of the playing cards. Defeating South Africa in the opening match makes them temporary drivers of Group A. Early call by Mbandra, and then he was fouled. Was the South African goalkeeper. And again, it's Lindsay Rose that always seems to avail himself in the opposition's box. It seemed like a fair contest in the air, but most of the time you can't interfere too much with the goalkeeper. There's a goal check, as I said, on the go, but it's specifically an offside check. And it's still on the go. It's very tight. We are waiting for confirmation from that other game between Mozambique and Zimbabwe. VAR has intervened and the decision stands. It is overturned, should I say. Zimbabwe have scored against Mozambique, which is exactly what South Africa and Mauritius would have wanted to hear. Early strike for the Warriors. And maybe, just maybe, that message will now be transferred to both the South Africans and the Mauritians. It's a massive spanner in the works. So Zimbabwe ahead in the other Group A match. No differential just yet in this match between South Africa and Mauritius. And if one of these two teams score now, they will summit to the top of Group A. If Zimbabwe can hold on against Mozambique, it's an early advantage they have. And the goal was scored by Angelo Cantello of Zimbabwe. So the first plot twist of Group A has happened. As it's thrown into the box, flicked on by Collard. Pierre. South Africa hoping to win the ball back. High up the field, just like they did against Zimbabwe for that penalty decision that went their favor. McCarthy puts his laces through it. Ditejane again with another sublime first touch. He's had many of them in a row. Moralo, Shabalala, it's opened up for him. He cuts it across. Still there for Sibelebele, and it comes off his face last. Plenty of action in next to no time there. Another great, promising box entry by South Africa. This time Shabalala found Sibelebele, but the space was very tight. And to add insult to injury, received a lashing, a ball to the face by William Francois, and his ear will definitely be ringing. So just to remind you again that it was in actual fact Ngwenya that provided the opening goal for Zimbabwe. He scored, and there's some more drama. There is more drama that has happened in that game. Ngwenya, I think, has won a penalty for Zimbabwe. Having a look at the highlights now in that match, and he was brought down by the Mozambican goalkeeper, so Zimbabwe have a chance to double their lead against Mozambique. It seems like VAR is going to be called upon again in that match. Just to check it, but it seemed pretty cut and dry for me. Chance to double the lead for Zimbabwe, which is music to the ears of the South Africans and the Mauritians here. But they need to score themselves. It would be immensely painful if one of these two teams, if South Africa and Mauritius cannot win this game and Zimbabwe do them a favor. This group is highly fascinating. Zimbabwe yet to convert that penalty kick, remember? And it's going to be another chance for Ngwenya to get his second of the game. Had a good showing against this South African team on Saturday, just didn't have the necessary dance partner, the attacking compatriot at his side. And Okon and McCarthy dealt relatively well with the Zimbabwean attack, but it seems like they are really putting it to Mozambique. And Ngwenya has indeed scored for Zimbabwe. So it's 2-0 at the Toyota Free State Stadium and still 0-0 at the Dr. Petrus Molimela Stadium. No one would have predicted that. And this just goes to show that you can never predict the outcome of the COSAFA Cup group phase. It has kept us on the very edge of our seats throughout its stunning history. And it was an emphatic penalty by Ngwenya. No emphatic touch in this match just yet. Ditejane up against Yannick Aristide, and it's Aristide that wins the contest. Or in fact, it's Ditejane, considering that the referee intervened. Seemed to be a good duel. Football is a contact sport. although not too much contact is allowed. So Mozambique find themselves in the world of trouble. South Africa and Mauritius hope to pounce, hope to take the advantage that they now potentially can create. Moralo, again, from the dead ball situation. Ocon, with another huge moment, scored from his head against Zimbabwe from a Moralo free kick from a similar position. And it was nearly rinse and repeat. Lindsay Rose did well to come across his face, to disturb his vision. And that was a tough chance. News of another goal. Mozambique have gotten one back against Zimbabwe. It's not over, it's far from over in that match. Just as when you start writing the obituary for one team, they come back and they are very much in the contest. You can never write Mozambique off. They started the day on the top of the group. South Africa currently are top of the group. But now with that Mozambican goal, with the scoreline being 2-1, the Mambas have the momentum, courtesy of a deflected goal. A strike that was taken from outside of the box. Plenty of action happening next door. Very quiet so far over here. That's a great run, a marvelous run into the box by Sibelebele. How he was allowed to travel so far is bewildering and brilliant on his behalf. Just couldn't quite find the right pass. Jean Anderson, there where he needed to be. Another corner chance. This time it's going to be Shabalala that's going to deliver. Anderson again for Mauritius. So this is the current state of affairs in the group. Mauritius are last, are in 4th place in Group A currently with 3 points. Zimbabwe are 3rd with 4 points. Mozambique are 2nd with 4 points. South Africa are 1st with 4 points. It's too early to say, but for now, South Africa on top of the group. Remember, due to their head-to-head record against Mozambique, due to the fact that they lost the opening clash against Mozambique, if it stays this way, Mozambique will go on to progress, although Zimbabwe are also on 4 points, so there's plenty of permutations that will unfold. Plenty of what-ifs. And realities that could transpire. The 3 teams are tied on 4 points. South Africa did do everything right in their last game. They did everything right that they failed to do against Mozambique in the tournament opener. They nullified the Zimbabweans and took their chances. And they grabbed their first goal of the competition towards the latter stages of the first half against Zimbabwe. They want to do so again. As for Mauritius, they are yet to score in the 2025 HollywoodBets COSAFA Cup. And what a time it would be if they are able to shock the southern region, to shock South Africa. Kaliste delivers. Acrobatic attempt. No foul. attempt on the edge of the box. South Africa in a rush to continue, and Banjwa in a rush. Moralo. Here's McCarthy, following in the footsteps of his father, Fabian, but of course carving his own way in the same position. Shabalala. Akon. Ditejane. Moralo somehow finds Ditejane. It's taken off him by Pierre. Dylan Collard punts it into touch. Seems like Mauritius are yet to find the balance, the perfect sweet spot between knowing when to attack and buckling down defensively. They have tended to focus on the latter, which is still a massive positive for them. It's a point that has kept him in this competition. Hariopane, slightly loose. Couldn't make up his mind in time before the ball was delivered to his feet. Only two other nations, like Mauritius, are yet to concede in the COSAFA Cup. They've done incredibly well to maintain a clean sheet for so long against so many tough opponents. Ditejane squeezes out a ball. Gonyama. Okon. It's yet to come for South Africa. It is yet to arrive for Mauritius. See what can come of this. Moralo might stick it in the box. Sibelebele takes the final touch. He's been sturdy, has Pierre for Mauritius. So far, they've kept this rather enterprising South African front three at bay. Not many clear-cut chances for South Africa. They had that one Aiden McCarthy chance, but the chance of the half really fell to Lindsay Rose for Mauritius. Only 1 minute of stoppage time has been added here before the half-time whistle is heard and before Vela Khumalo and Luke Molek can tap in to the psychology of their players and really urge them on, considering the current 2-1 scoreline favouring Zimbabwe against Mozambique. Pierre shouts of a handball. The referee did put the whistle to his mouth and thought about it, and then had second thoughts. A season ago, down in Nelson Mandela Bay, Mozambique, Angola, Namibia and Comoros were announced as the 4 semi-finalists of 2024. The final day of the group phase was just as dramatic as today has been and will be in the second half. It's anyone's game in Group A. The semi-final spot is up for grabs. And there are 4 nations in the running. South Africa and Mauritius still very much in the running, and they will now discover the news that Zimbabwe are in the lead against Mozambique. But those 2 nations are still currently in the midst of a fierce contest. Well, there you go, the announcer has just let them know. So expect an all-out war in the second half for a semi-final spot.
And remember the 2 Group B games tonight here at the Delta Stadium, Namibia against Lesotho.
They're yet to truly test Mauritius. Or South Africa, can they do so in the second half? Can they score in the second half? Mauritius still have that outside opportunity. It's a guessing game for now. It's an interesting game between South Africa and Mauritius. Only 1 shot on target apiece. South Africa have had more of the ball, but they haven't really turned that into real good golden opportunities. Second half to come at the Dr. Petrus Molemela Stadium. Don't go too far away for some more Group A splendor. Vila Khumalo is the man that hopes to guide this South African team into the semi-finals. Luke Mulek of Mauritius hoping to do exactly the same for his side, that are positioned as dark horses in this race for a semi-final place. Countdown is complete. South Africa face Mauritius in what is the final clash in Group A for them, both chasing a semi-final spot. Both have left it very, very late. Last year in the group battle between Mozambique and South Africa, the battle to the top was won by the Mambas. They were the ones that progressed to the semis to eventually then attain bronze. But this year in Bloemfontein, South Africa seek sweet revenge and redemption. But will they get it? They've made a really fast start with the ball into the box, a ball chased by Shabalala, not convincingly dealt with by Lindsay Rose. But there's the first sight of Shabalala and the first sighter for Ditejane, as Lindsay Rose just mistimed his intervention. as well as Mduduzi. But here's Pierre for Mauritius. Took it too far. Should have released when he had the opportunity to do so. Chance for Shabalala. Good ball from Shabalala to Sibelebele now for South Africa. Tight angle. Enough on it. Enough defensive work applied by the Mauritians. Jean Addison is always there. Whenever, wherever Mauritius need him. And it's going to be the first corner kick of the contest. Can this produce the opener? Moralo goes in up towards McCarthy at the back. Still McCarthy now. Does he have the speed to get there just before it goes out? He does. Puts a decent delivery in there, just lacked the necessary height. But now the centre half is out of position. And Mauritius can break. But it's held up by Ngonyama. And it's South African ball. The chances appeared out of nothing. Radiopane, he tries to squeeze it in. And nearly bobbled off the goalkeeper, back into the goal. Gratefully and graciously, Jean-Louis is able to hold on. And then McCarthy did well not to intervene. To listen to Radiopane, because he was in an offside position. Shabalala was in the box. It was difficult for Radiopane to pick him out, so he... Here's Ditejane. Playing as a flying fullback this afternoon, Ditejane, just like he did in the group opener. Sibelebele started in his position against Zimbabwe. Now Sibelebele is slightly more forwards, as is McCarthy. Sibelebele still has it for South Africa. He ventures deeper into the box, but lets himself down with a wayward touch. Or did it come off a Mauritian defender last? I think so. It's going to be another corner kick opportunity for the South Africans. The centre halves very high up, very advanced for Vela Khumalo. And only then will the magnifying glass be brought out for the goal difference, to study the goal difference. But here's Moralo. Not the cross he was hoping to deliver. Not the cross many of his teammates were hoping to get at the end of. And I also wish to remind you that Mozambique and Zimbabwe are in the thick of action at the Toyota Free State Stadium, and it's also still scoreless between the Mambas and the Warriors of Zimbabwe. Same doing here. Kaliste. Clever over the dead ball. Potent over the dead ball. Chance is missed. Best chance of the game missed by Lindsay Rose, it seems like. Couldn't have asked much more from the delivery from Kaliste. And that should have been stuck away. That's a huge let-off for South Africa. It's not going to be Shabalala's. It's all Moralo. It's a really good ball, McCarthy! Can't divert it goalwards, it's still there for South Africa. Shabalala lashes wide. Another mistimed header, another heading opportunity fails to be taken. This time it fell to McCarthy, and he took a nasty landing as well. He landed actually on the left leg of Jean-Louis. McCarthy puts his laces through it. Ditejane again with another sublime first touch. He's had many of them in a row. Moralo, Shabalala, it's opened up for him. He cuts it across. Still there for Sibelebele, and it comes off his face last. Plenty of action in next to no time there. Another great, promising box entry by South Africa. This time Shabalala found Sibelebele, but the space was very tight. And to add insult to injury, received a lashing. A ball to the face. by William Francois.
Laduma! Take your best shot with HollywoodBets in our universe of spectacular soccer action. Multiple opportunities to score are yours for the taking. With our max payout of 30 million rand, easy cash out options, in-play betting, and data-free site. Share your tips and selections with family and friends using our Share a Bet feature. Your betting adventure starts here. HollywoodBets, be in the game.
It's going to be an entertaining end to Group A. That is a guarantee. And it's still 0-0 between South Africa and Mauritius, with 45 or 46 minutes of football being played. And in terms of the news between Mozambique and Zimbabwe, if you might have missed it, Zimbabwe did sail to a 2-goal lead, courtesy of a brace from Ngwenya in the first half. But then Mozambique got a goal back via a deflection from a shot from outside of the area, and they also hit the crossbar towards the end of the first half. So Mozambique are not out of it just yet in that match against Zimbabwe, but the Warriors still maintain a one fragile goal lead. And these two, South Africa and Mauritius, would have definitely been bolstered, inspired and motivated that Zimbabwe are doing exactly what they want them to do. But now it's just about controlling the controllables, and to win this match for South Africa and Mauritius, either team are yet to make the real cunning play to seize the opportunity. The chance of the half did fall to Lindsay Rose, but it fell to him too soon, and his header went over the top of the crossbar. McCarthy also had a moment. Sibelebele has played well. Shabalala is yet to really enter the contest for South Africa. Kaliste of Mauritius has played with endeavour. But so far, still very, very close to call. And we're still waiting for the South Africans and the Mauritians to enter the fray, to enter the arena for the second time this afternoon. It's been better conditions today than what it was yesterday, although it is still bitterly cold in the Free State capital. And the stage is set. A semi-finalist will either be announced here at the stadium or next door at the Toyota Free State Stadium. There's no doubt that this match between South Africa and Mauritius might be wrapped up a little bit sooner than the Mozambican and Zimbabwean clash. So at the end of the 90, they'll wait with angst and hear what the news is from that match, from that stadium, just up the road. So before the second half gets underway, I do wish to remind you that as things stand, there are three teams locked on 4 points. South Africa on 4, Mozambique on 4, Zimbabwe on 4, and Mauritius with the 3 for now. They are, of course, subject to change. And remember, the differentiating factors first go to head-to-head records. And if no differential is found there, then goal difference will be studied. And if it's still even Stevens, then goals scored will be looked at. So either way, there is many ways to decide the winner of Group A, if needs be. We can go down the pecking order all day long. It's going to be a photo finish, a dash to the line in Group A. And Mozambique have definitely made things interesting. They've made things nervy, courtesy of that one goal they managed to get before the halftime break against the Warriors. So expect them to come out with a lot of fight in the second half, and you would expect the exact same from South Africa and Mauritius. The players are ready to go. Mauritius will get the second half started. A monumental display is required from both these two teams if they wish to attain the semi-final spot. There's only one way to do so, and that is to conquer this Group A. That has been up in the air up until now and will remain so until the final whistle sounds. The whistle of Celso Alvacao. It's about to be take 3. Now to start this second half off. And here we go. It's all systems a go for the second 45 between South Africa and Mauritius. And Kaliste made an early box entry there, but it's taken out, guided out by Pusoditejane, who bombed up that right-hand side quite often for South Africa in the first half. And he'll be urged to do the same. Etlapa makes up for his error. McCarthy. Moralo with good feet. Radiopane with good strength. And there's the group in all its beauty. Mozambique on 4 points on top, remember, because of that head-to-head record against South Africa. But then again, if Zimbabwe beat them, and if it ends that way, then Zimbabwe will have a better record than Mozambique. So it's going to go down to goal difference if it remains that way, if Zimbabwe can defeat Mozambique. And Moralo was in charge of all of the set pieces, or at least 90% of them in the first half. Will he grant Shabalala a crack? Shabalala is handling the ball, so it's bound to be his. Placing it exactly where he wants it. We saw a fantastic free kick yesterday between Madagascar and Eswatini, one that was scored by Andy Jr. Let's see what Shabalala can offer. It's on target. Was carrying heat, but not precision. Not a bad attempt nonetheless by Shabalala. Too central. Here's Yannick Aristide. Can he add more to Mauritius' only 3 goal attempts, only one of which have been on target? South Africa have got 2 shots on target, the second coming via Mduduzi Shabalala. As Radiopane is fouled right in front of the South African technical area. Right in front of Vela Kumalo, who guided South Africa's under-17s to the semi-final of the Junior COSAFA Cup. And that's where he hopes to take this Bafana Bafana unit and beyond. But it won't be easy going in this second half. Jean-Louis nearly made a clumsy mistake in that first half after parrying an attempt. The ball nearly came off his back, and he's made a clumsy mistake there with a poor clearance. And here's a shot that might ruffle a few feathers. It doesn't. That would have lifted the metaphorical roof off of this building. The contest just next door between Mozambique and Zimbabwe has just kicked off. So we'll keep you enlightened as to the updates that may happen in that match. For now, Ditejane is on the ball. Moralo. Chance for Radiopane, miscues his attempt. Ditejane tries his luck on target again for South Africa, but Jean-Louis in the way for Mauritius. Radiopane couldn't connect sublimely like he wanted to. Difficult technique for Ditejane as well. Caught it well enough, Wanted to go across the goalkeeper, across into the far post. But Jean-Louis swallowing the attempt. A goal now is all that these two seek. Before the day got underway, only 14 goals were scored by the various nations so far. Only 14 goals in 12 matches before the start of the day. And the 4 goals that Angola scored against Lesotho really bolsters that fact. Fourteen goals have been scored so far in this competition, and at the same stage last season, 19 goals were scored. And in 2023, 24 goals were scored at this stage. So it has clearly been one of the more defensive and goal-conservative COSAFA Cups there has been in recent memory. Still a conservative 0-0 so far between these two. Louis Brendan goes down the line. Here's Ngonyama, one of the more experienced individuals in this COSAFA Cup Bafana Bafana side. Loose touch from Alex Jason. Haven't seen or heard too much from him so far. Letlapa, Shabalala, muscled off the ball, and then he commits a foul in frustration. This is his first start in the competition. Shabalala came on as a substitute against Zimbabwe and did produce a decent stint, shift, little cameo before the final whistle was heard in that match. But so far it just feels as if South Africa missed the performance of Kabelo Dlamini from Saturday. He was the perfect linkage and glue between the midfield and the attack. And he carved Zimbabwe open on a multitude of occasions. South Africa don't exactly have that midfield maestro just yet, or that unnamed midfield maestro is yet to make himself known for both South Africa and Mauritius. Both nations will know that a goal for either one of them will take them to the top of the group. It's not a great goal clearance again from Jean-Louis. Mkhize commits a foul and the referee is on it. Color of the card is going to be yellow to Mkhize. Now Mkhize shaking his finger, waving his finger to the referee, saying no, no, no. That was clean, Mr. Ref, but I don't think so. Looked a reckless one on Yannick Aristide. Jean-Yannick Aristide is clearly in a world of discomfort as his coach, Luc Moulek, watches on. Has only recently assumed the coaching reins of this Mauritian team, Luc Moulek. He's French-born, French through and through. And he also had a captivating career as a player. As for Velakumalo, he has nurtured the younger generation. And this next-gen team, in this next-gen competition. And there's a famous face. Mark Fish, a proud COSAFA ambassador. Enjoying all of the action in Bloemfontein. It's a COSAFA Cup that has been bubbling and bubbling, and now it's starting to boil over. Ten minutes into this second stanza, still as we left it after the first half. Caliste. The drop of the shoulder was exquisite. And Lindsay Rose with a delicate piece of play. There's some silky touches from the centre half. And Pierre stands on the ball and trips, but maintains his ground. De Rubelard, good ball, Caliste. Gonyama needed to be there for South Africa. Pierre. Oh, it looked open there for South Africa. Yannick Aristide. De Rubelard is wide open. There's chances on the overlap, options on the overlap. Options now from the corner kick. De Rubelard was rather silent, rather to himself in the first half. He's been a little bit more prominent so far in this second match, as should a number 10 be. There should be busybodies in the middle of the park, in and around the box. Third corner of the game for Mauritius. Clutched out of the sky by Mbanjwa. Good throw from Mbanjwa. Good touch from Letlapa. Speed from Sibelebele. Good pass from Sibelebele. Radio Pane. No. Was praising his work against Zimbabwe. It just hasn't been his afternoon against Mauritius. Sibelebele threaded through two players very well. And Radio Pane just couldn't quite press pause in time. Pierre goes past Sibelebele. Caliste. De Rubelard. Here is De Rubelard. He's going to go directly at the South Africans. Doesn't get very far. Letlapa. Puso Ditejane. 6 out of the 12 COSAFA Cup contests so far have ended either on a 1-1 or scoreless stalemate basis. As McCarthy filters a ball into the box. Likes to step into that channel, does McCarthy. Half of the matches so far have been drawn in this competition so far, which leads one to believe that the competition amongst the nations is just simply becoming fiercer. And the gaps that once existed between some of these countries are being closed down. And they need to close this guy down. De Rubelard lays it off. That's a stunning attempt from Jean Anderson. Ran onto it with confidence. And the veteran took it on well. And the bounce actually suited him. And it swerved away in the vital moment. But then after that strike, he gives it away to South Africa. In an advanced position, Letlapa realizes that Ditejane is open on the far side. And then he made the run into the box. An unmarked run into the box. Mauritius didn't see him coming, but they did observe the present danger. And a chance has presented itself now to Yannick Aristide, who faces off against McCarthy, who commits the foul in front of the referee, who had full view of the situation. Yellow card for McCarthy as well. Wasn't in the mood to face the tricks and flicks. Just stuck his foot in there and caught Yannick Aristide. And this is a dangerous set-piece chance for Mauritius. What a story it would be if Mauritius were the ones to qualify for a semi-final spot in a group that features South Africa, Zimbabwe and Mozambique. Three heavy hitters in the history of the COSAFA Cup. As I said at the top of the show, one of the fiercest underdogs there has ever been, Mauritius. Caliste shouts from Mbanjwa, he's not on his goal line, and it's dragged wide by de Robillard. Teaser of a cross by Caliste. Mbanjwa wasn't totally convincing. And the chance did fall, but it did fall wide in the end. Less than a half an hour to go of regulation time. It's a good ball and a good take by Sibelebele. Now Ditejane, who gives it back to Sibelebele. Ocon, McCarthy, good pick up from McCarthy to Moralo, Ditejane. Moving it swifter now, are the South Africans, up until that point. There were two South African players in the box, two South Africans to Mauritius's 4. So they were always going to come off second best. McCarthy with a strong header. Indicating that he meant no harm on Alex Jason. And the Mauritians are indicating that there might have been an elbow from Aiden McCarthy. Seemed like a fair contest in the air. A 50-50 contest that McCarthy won. Let's have another look. He did catch him with the elbow, but he needed to create elevation, to create the springboard to jump from. And you can't jump without your arms. Or at least you can't jump high. Alex Jason having a word with Aiden McCarthy. Referee saying it's over now. They want him sent off. Remember, Aiden McCarthy has already been booked for a previous challenge on Yannick Aristide. Two yellow cards for South Africa so far. Two players that have to walk a tightrope. And another free kick moment for Mauritius. They would have trained the set pieces thoroughly before this contest got underway, so you would think. Sean Anderson kicked it off against Lindsay Rose. Mbanjwa. McCarthy. He gave it away. And then put in a block. Certainly feels like there's a lot of tension between Aiden McCarthy and Alex Jason, as well as Yannick Aristide. There's a trio of changes for South Africa. Nemtajela on for Sibelebele. Swallow taking the place of Shabalala. And Sanele Barnes is going to replace Vuyo Letlapa. Barnes started the first game against Mozambique. Gets a run out today, as does Letswalo. Scored a number of COSAFA Cup goals in the past. Letswalo also involved in the Chant team. Let's see what can happen from this, though. From this Mauritian throw-in. Radiopane is still on the park, and that's exactly what I expected Vela Kumalo to do, to play Radiopane and Letswalo together as a front two. But now Nemtajela has joined the party as well. And now Mozambique, should I say Mauritius, are going to pick up their first yellow card for a cynical challenge by de Robillard. And on the topic of Mozambique, they are still trailing Zimbabwe by 1-2. A clearer, more obvious yellow card you will not see. Estitejane taking on the number 10 of Mauritius. Disappointing cross from such a skillful player, from such a talented player. They took the risk by leaving Kaizer Chiefs and pursuing a career with TS Galaxy. It's been a good club career so far with the Rockets. He's really discovered his way, his football identity in red and black. Sanele Barnes in the maroon these days. Gonyama telling Alex Jason to get back up on his feet. Seems like there's some activity on the Mauritian bench. They're going to make a change. Vela Kumalo has already instituted 3 changes, not just 1 or 2. Which is exactly what he needed to do. They need some new ideas up top. Do South Africa. Rose. And while South Africa, Mauritius, Mozambique and Zimbabwe are in the process of hashing it out for top spot in this group, the Group B nations will have their turn at 6 o'clock sharp. And that's another look at the group for you. Mozambique still currently reside at the top of the standings. But anything can happen. Something is yet to happen in this match. Chance here though, Nemtajela denied the chance. The referee has another yellow card in his hand. Lindsay Rose does not want to give up the ball. He's being surrounded now. And now it feels like a quarter-final. It's a high-stakes affair. It's an emotional affair now. And the last thing you want to do is to be sent off due to a lack of composure. Joseph William Francois, the recipient of that yellow card. Although he's the one that looks worse for wear. $20 fouls in this Group A decider, and 2 yellow cards apiece. 0-0 apiece. Eden McCarthy is trying to throw his name in the hat, but it's going to be Moralos in all likelihood. You would think Moralo is sizing this one up. Central position occupied by the goalkeeper, Jean-Louis. It's going to take something special, something spectacular to beat him in the Mauritian goal, and it's deflected off the wall. Sanele Barnes can't get there. Corner kick to settle on, however, for South Africa. With 20 minutes left on the clock. And that looked good. Did come off Lindsay Rose in that Mauritian wall. Another set-piece chance. The sun is blinding those South African players. Not anymore, though. It is delivered to McCarthy, headed on target. But he was quite some distance away from the goal mouth, and he was heading in one direction, trying to head the ball in the opposite. Chance nonetheless. Had a header opportunity in the first half. He's got another in the second. Unmarked. Not enough power. And that was South Africa's 9th attempt of the clash. And they might just profit off an unforced error. They can venture again into the half of Mauritius. Before that, changes will be made. Cooper Legrand is going to replace a frustrated Alex Jason and Angel Arthey. Is going to take the place of de Robillard. So 2 attacking changes made by Luc Malek, clearly showing his intent and the Mauritian intent too. Big fight required. Mauritius seeking the upset. South Africa hoping to go through as hosts. It's been a while since they've done so. And here comes Arthey for Mauritius. Alex Jason off. And Legrand on. Namibia and Lesotho are the next to take the stage here at this Dr. Petrus Molemela Stadium, while Angola and Malawi will do so on the bigger Toyota Free State Stadium stage at 6 o'clock. Group B is in the exact same shape as this Group A was when the day started. Angola, the defending champions, do look poised, however, to emerge as group winners. But it's still speculation for now. It's still speculation as to who might win this contest. Corner kick won by Yannick Aristide. Caliste in no real rush to take this corner kick. It's corner number 4 for the Dodos. From the sunlight into the shade, he delivers, and Banjwa does come out, and again he doesn't make proper contact with the clearance, with the punch away. Mauritius unable to punish him and South Africa. Again, another really good delivery by Caliste into the area where it allows his teammates to challenge the South Africans, and challenge they did. There's a chance though. Radiopane nearly combining with Nemtajela. So a good working relationship between those two against the Warriors of Zimbabwe on Saturday. Kumalo looking for the same chemistry and combinations against Mauritius. And out of all the nations these two have faced in the COSAFA Cup, South Africa and Mauritius don't often face off. This is only their 4th time that these two nations are meeting in the 28-year history of the COSAFA Cup. South Africa have won this matchup twice, and Mauritius have also been the victors of this matchup, albeit just the one time. And this is going to be the COSAFA Cup debut for Mokobelo Simon Ramabu of Polokwane City to replace Puto Ditejane. A Bafana debut for him. Flicked on very well, chance for Mauritius, glaring opportunity missed by the substitute Legrand. He's hoping that it's a corner kick at least. Good throw in from Louis Brendan, excellent flick on from Dylan Collard. Put it on a plate. The goal was beckoning for Legrand, and he didn't sort his feet out, he didn't sort his body position out. In terms of the quality of chances, Mauritius had one great chance in the first half and one undeniable chance in the second. And with the semi-final stage an arm's length away, you really need to take those chances. Sanele Barnes, though, playing as a left fullback, and he'll always seek to cut in. Ramabu on the outside. Sanele Barnes. Good ball from Barnes. Radiopane on the turn. Blocked by Rose. To the opposite flank. That one hitting the side netting. South Africa, behind Zimbabwe and Zambia, are indeed the 3rd most successful nation in the history of this competition, despite recent history not favoring them at all. The hosts last won this competition in 2021 and first won it in 2002. But South Africa have been dealt frustration over the last few events. Rose in the way. In South Africa's way, in Radiopane's way. Ramabu. Kize. Collard. McCarthy for South Africa. Whoa! Whoa! The initial bit to create the space for the strike, and then the strike itself really grabbed the attention of Mauritius and the South Africans on the bench. Letsolonyale, center of your screen. And that was traveling, but well watched by Jean-Louis. Arthi for Mauritius. Easy gather by Mbandra. That's determination for you by Jean Anderson. And then William Francois tries to slip in his teammate Yannick Aristide. Fails and then goes and hunts for possession. Collard. Ocon. Mauritius and their COSAFA Cup record does tell the story of a team that have toiled, a team that have tried, but it's just never been quite enough for them. Each of their last 13 COSAFA Cup campaigns have ended in group stage disappointments. 2001 and 2004 were the only editions in which Mauritius travelled past the first phase of the competition. And South Africa themselves marginally missed out on a knockout or a semi-final spot in the last iteration of this COSAFA Cup to Mozambique, who beat them to top spot. Moralo. That one came off the studs of William Francois, but it was denied from going out for a South African corner kick by Jean-Louis. His match might be over. William Francois is just needing some assistance from Jean-Louis, feeling the after effects of that stretch. Changes being called for, substitutions ready. And William Francois might just be a forced change that Luc Molek has to make. And of course he's back. Buerta leading the chants in the stands. Decent family day out as well. The work day, so to say, over. And with this one nearly over, with another match to come at this ground and the other at the Toyota Free State Stadium, there's many more moments of drama to follow in the COSAFA Cup. Mauritius weren't participants in the last COSAFA Cup, but in 2023 they were seated in a group with Lesotho, Angola and Mozambique, but fate led them to finish last in that group. Wilson Mutu is in. Mauritius want another corner, and they are going to get it. There's 7 minutes and a little bit more to follow in this match. That's left of this match. Banja calls for it, this time claims it much more confidently. Another reminder, Mozambique still 1, Zimbabwe still 2 in that match. Let's swallow. Radiopane urged to shoot, he does shoot, deflection, I think, no, goal kick, but that was close, from a direct throw-in, landed at the feet of Let's Swallow, and then Radiopane decided why not. His hopes were to see that one curl and nestle in the top corner. Not to be. The records do indicate that every single time this competition comes to South Africa, Mauritius don't play more than 3 matches. They don't make it past the group stage. And to rewrite that wrong, to write something new, they need to play out of their skin for the next few minutes, conjure up a winner. And what a moment this could have been for Radiopane, leaning back a touch too much. And he had the goalkeeper stagnant. That's Yannick Aristide, that's on the stretcher for Mauritius. And he's replaced by Adrian Botler. Ramabu. Gonyama. All of the relevant COSAFA nations, including the Mauritians, are definitely becoming accustomed to returning to South Africa year after year for the COSAFA Cup. The last time this senior COSAFA Cup competition was hosted on the island of Mauritius was in 2005, should I say, when Zimbabwe won the competition for the very first time. Kabelo Dlamini, star player for South Africa in match 1 and match 2, enters the fray now. It's very, very late to be bringing him on. Scored South Africa's first goal at this year's COSAFA Cup with a wonderfully taken penalty with a hop, skip and a jump. Arthie looks to pass it into the net. South Africa can break. Ramabu. It's a poor ball from Ramabu. And Radiopane was hoping for anything but. Kaliste is pointing to where he wants it. He gets it exactly where he wants it. And here he is. The ball has been a magnet to his feet in the second half, Kaliste. Jean Anderson. He's as tough as they come in the southern African region. Proud export of Port Louis. Nemtajela playing on his home park, playing on his home patch, for where he often starts for Marumo Gallants, and Vela Kumalo is bemused with his decision, or the execution of his decision. Radiopane is free, Dlamini is free. It is Kabelo Dlamini for South Africa. Lays it off again to Radiopane, who's down on the ground. Nemtajela, still Nemtajela. Dlamini. No one pulling the decisive trigger. Will Moralo do so? Let's swallow. No. After all of that excitement, the crowd were on their feet. South Africa not taking their moment that time around. But already the difference with Dlamini in this team is felt. It's obvious. Barnes. Moralo. Here's Ngonyama. McCarthy. Barnes. Easy catch for Jean-Louis. So I'm looking at the group now. South Africa are first, 4 points. Mozambique 4 points. Zimbabwe third, 4 points. Remember, it goes from head to head to goal difference to goals scored. If it is even on points, and if it is still even after the head-to-head stats. And after glancing at it, I think South Africa will be heading into the semi-finals if nothing changes in this match and in the next. Considering that Zimbabwe have a better head-to-head record over Mozambique, although Mozambique have a better head-to-head record over South Africa. So then it goes over to goal difference, and South Africa, for now, have the best goal difference in this group. out of all of the three nations currently on 4 points. They have a goal difference of 1. Mozambique have a goal difference of 0. And Zimbabwe have a goal difference of -1. So it is looking unlikely for Zimbabwe. Although, anything can happen. Dlamini runs over it. It's delivered into the box, a free header again, this time for Ngonyama. And the captain couldn't believe his luck. Great delivery. But the centre half, not ready, not sainted. Five minutes to go of stoppage time over here. And up the road at Oliver Tambo Road, Zimbabwe still lead Mozambique. And I think that's exactly what Letsolonyane and Vila Khumalo are trying to tell their troops. They are currently poised to advance to the semi-finals. Because things are still even after the head-to-head record. Things are not even according to the goal difference statistic. But when the final whistle goes here, they will have to wait and see what happens, what the final scoreline is between Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Yes, Kaliste. Nutmegs, McCarthy. Radiopane keeps his feet, that's Radiopane. Again, and then he goes for goal. There were options, there were players. Did well to continue his run. And had a one-track mind. Ramabu, as you can see in the background, left frustrated. 3 minutes more to come. Barnes. Intercepted. Dlamini. Ramabu. Good ball from Ramabu. Let's swallow. Has a go, it might break for Barnes. It's denied by Jean Allison yet again. How crucial has he been for Mauritius? In his own box and in the midfield trenches too. McCarthy. Ocon. The centre halves of South Africa playing as midfielders now. Moralo, exquisite ball, great header from Sanele Barnes. Mtatshela unable to make do, and then Radiopane just goes wide for South Africa. It's a whisker wide. Everyone was stopping and then staring when that strike from Radiopane agonizingly made its way across the face. South Africa and Mauritius have played their part in this year's COSAFA Cup. And if this is to be the end of their journey, they certainly didn't go down without a fight, without showcasing some bright and eye-catching moments. Although, yes, there could have been more. But that was a very wise header from Barnes. And a very useful opportunity. There's only a minute to go here between South Africa and Mauritius. And there's 8 still in store for stoppage time in the Mozambican and Zimbabwean meeting. And that Radiopane attempt was South Africa's 16th attempt of the game, 5 of which have been on target. And after this afternoon's matches, after tonight's proceedings, after Group B, B is wrapped up, just like Group A. The attention will turn to Group C and Group D, in which Eswatini, Madagascar, and then Botswana and Comoros are in the running for the final two semi-final spots. But there's a semi-final spot up for grabs here. It's put into the mix by Moralo, and then Legrand manages to clear the ball for Mauritius, and then again by Butler. Here's Barnes to Radiopane. Chance here for South Africa, for Radiopane. The additional stoppage time has elapsed, but the free kick goes in favor of Mauritius. All eyes on the referee. It's still 2-1 between Zimbabwe and Mozambique, but this one ends 0-0 between South Africa and Mauritius. So all eyes now on Mozambique and Zimbabwe. The man of the match of this contest was Dylan Collard. There could have been many, but Dylan Collard has been chosen as the man of the match. What has been a real physical tussle, a good clash, a gripping clash in Group A of the COSAFA Cup. South Africa have ended their COSAFA Cup campaign with 4 points. Mauritius with 3 points, with 3 draws. So yes, they might be undefeated throughout this group phase, but they will have no chance of advancing into the final 4. It's going to be between Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. And South Africa have the best goal difference as things stand. Mozambique defeated them, so Mozambique have won over them in terms of head-to-heads, but Zimbabwe are nearing a victory against Mozambique, so they will have a superior head-to-head record against Mozambique. It's going to go down to goal difference. Full time though between South Africa and Mauritius, it's 0-0. And with regards to the full-time report card, South Africa had most of the ball, most of the shots on target, but the better shot accuracy for Mauritius. But all that means nothing now. There's a lot of tension, a lot of angst. South Africa hoping, really hoping that they can become semi-finalists and right the wrongs of last year. And I've just heard news of a goal by Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe have scored. Zimbabwe have scored against Mozambique, which means they have defeated them properly and emphatically and triumphantly. 3-1 in that match. And this is how this Group A ends. We'll have to look at the head-to-heads and the goal difference. But according to my calculations, South Africa will be going through. They've ended on 4 points. Mozambique have ended on 4 points. Mauritius have produced a lot of talking points. They've played with a lot of heart. So Zimbabwe have won their match. They've done South Africa a huge favor. South Africa seems like they are celebrating, so that means that South Africa are COSAFA Cup semi-finalists. Rewriting the wrongs of last year, they are COSAFA Cup semi-finalists once again, returning to the Final Four. 2023 was the last time, and they will have a shot, a 1 in 4 shot of claiming the ultimate prize. And set your reminders, tell your friends about the semi-finals that will kick off on Friday. The group phase of this competition was gripping. The knockout stage should be enthralling. And do enjoy every second of the next two COSAFA Cup clashes. Group A is done now. And now it's over to the nations in Group B. Malawi, Namibia, Lesotho, Angola. It's over to them. Celebrations in the stands. South Africa just waiting to be extra sure of their case. Yes, it does go down to head, but it's all even if you consider the records of South Africa, Mozambique and Zimbabwe. All three of those nations have beaten one another, so it's going down to goal difference. And South Africa have the best goal difference. So the Group A race has been run. South Africa, the winners of the group. Zimbabwe really came to the party today for this Bafana Bafana group. And you can see it now, they weren't quite sure when the full-time whistle was sung. But now they are extra sure of their case. South Africa, the first team to announce their place in the Final Four. Comoros could have done so last night, Eswatini could have done so yesterday afternoon, but South Africa have, and they didn't even need to win. They can extend a massive thank you, a huge thank you to Zimbabwe. Mozambique were on top of the group in match day 1, in match day 2, but not in match day 3. 8 minutes have elapsed between Mozambique and Zimbabwe. What a story this has been. The 2025 COSAFA Cup. It was anyone's guess as to who was going to come out on top, and no one would have foreseen this kind of outcome. South Africa losing their first match, winning their second match, drawing against Mauritius, who were worthy dance partners, worthy opponents this afternoon, and they definitely held their weight. And the full-time whistle has now gone at the Toyota Free State Stadium. What a fantastic performance by Zimbabwe, by Simon Marange's Zimbabwe team. The Warriors have really proven as to why they go by the name of the Warriors. Mozambique have been knocked out of the COSAFA Cup. The ecstasy, the elation, and then on the opposite side of the coin, the pure disappointment, the utter disappointment for Mozambique to miss out on the final hurdle. South Africa doing exactly what they hope to do as hosts of tournaments. They let themselves down in last year's edition in Nelson Mandela Bay. Different story this time around in the City of Roses. Really was a proper brawl in Group A, and that is confirmation of how it ends. South Africa on top of the standings, going through with that marginally better goal difference than Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Don't forget to catch the next few clashes this afternoon, the next two clashes, should I say, kicking off at 6 o'clock. Namibia against Lesotho at this very ground. And then Malawi will take on Angola. It's been a wonderful show, and it will continue throughout the night. Time now for Villa Khumalo and Luke Molek to have their say.
Coach, thank you very much for your... Coach, thank you very much for your time. Coach, thank you very much for your time. What a day it has been. You go through after having to wait for the results from the other match.
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate that we had to wait for another team. But again, it's in the game of football. And the fact that we are through, I'm happy. We just need to go on and maybe go correct our mistakes. We are not really clinical. We're trying all the chances. Good entries in the box, but we are not scoring goals. It's something that has been our problem since we started with the tournament. But let's hope that with the semi-finals and so forth, we will get to score goals.
But it was a slow start to the competition, losing the first match and then bouncing back in the second match.
Look, I'm not really getting you well, but we're not really scoring goals. That's my problem, my biggest challenge. But if we can just score goals, I think we'll be a better team then.
Yes, coach. You won this competition with the under-17 some years back. Do you think you have a chance of winning it with the senior team?
Yeah, look, I won it with under-17, the trophy, and then I won it with Bafana Bafana. So I wanted us to go through and through.
Thank you very much, coach.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Coach, thank you very much for your time. A hard break for you and your team after the 3 matches. 3 draws, but unfortunately, you have to go home, with South Africa qualifying as the winners.
Donc 3 matchs, 3 matchs nuls, ce qui ne vous permet pas de vous qualifier en demi-finale. Mais malgré tout, quel bilan faites-vous de cette participation?
On était dans un groupe vraiment difficile. Ça s'est joué à peu de choses. Je pense qu'on a 2-3 occasions sur les matchs où on doit pouvoir faire la différence. Dans l'ensemble, on sait bien défendre. Maintenant, il va falloir qu'on arrive à concrétiser nos actions.
So we were in a very tough group. I think that on our defense, we did pretty much good work. But now we should focus on our attack.
Like you say, it's a tough group against teams that are ranked higher than you, but you managed to get a point against each of the 3 teams.
Donc vous avez dit que le groupe était très difficile, mais malgré tout, vous n'êtes pas venu arracher un point avec chacune des équipes présentes dans ce groupe. C'est quand même pas mal.
Oui, après quand on est compétiteur, on a envie de gagner. Il y a quand même un peu de frustration parce que je pense qu'on peut marquer sur une occasion et je pense qu'on avait moyen de se qualifier.
We are competitors, and when you are competitors, you want to win. And I think that today we had a good occasion to score, but we weren't able to do it. But I'm quite satisfied.
Thank you very much, coach, and all the best going forward.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,